I almost killed someone walking their dog, and I realized that meditation actually works. So, this was years ago in college. I was driving home in my brand new, heavily used convertible that I just bought for like $3,000 on Facebook. And I was jamming out, listening to music, and I whipped into the side street by my house right as this guy was stepping out walking his dog. And so I was about to hit him. I slammed on the brakes. He jumped back off the road, and then we sort of locked eyes in that mutually pissed off sort of way of it was your fault, it was my fault, it was your fault, it was your fault. And so, he started mouthing something at me I couldn't really hear, but next thing I know, I threw open the door and started out after him. And just as he turned around, I kind of paused for a second. And I said, "Hey, that was my bad." And he kind of looked at me like, "What?" So I was like, "Yeah, dude, I came in here too fast. I got kind of annoyed, and I just realized now I didn't see you. It was an accident, but it was still kind of my fault. I'm sorry, we're good." He was like, yeah, we were fine. We had a nice talk. And as I got back in my car, I thought, what was that? Seriously, what the hell just happened? Am I losing it? And I realized something. I realized that was the meditation. That was my mindfulness wearing away at me. If you practice meditation or mindfulness, really what that means is the ability to be where your feet are. Right? Because so much of the time we're off thinking about the future, what am I going to have for lunch today? What am I going to do? I got to do those emails. Or we're remembering the past of, what was I doing the other day? Or, oh, that person really pissed me off. And so we're kind of time traveling. We're not living our lives. We're living our minds. And so I made the commitment years before that to do about 20 minutes a day of mindfulness meditation so that I could learn to be where my feet are and kind of build that capacity for awareness. And so when you train mindfulness or meditation, it's not like running where you see the faster mile times or you see the number on the scale getting smaller. You kind of just transform, and a lot of times you transform and you don't even realize it until life happens just like this, and you realize you've been transformed for the better. So that was my experience. This practice really transformed how I show up in the world. And I realized that it's kind of like exercise, right? If you run or lift weights, you get faster and stronger. And then when you're actually playing your sport or you're in your daily life, you feel faster and stronger. And so this video, I want to talk to you about why we may practice mindfulness meditation and how it connects to happiness. And then I'll give you kind of a little how to get started, whether you have done some mindfulness or meditation stuff before, or if you're totally new, I want you to leave here with a sense of how you can get started. So the why, okay, why are we doing this? Well, I guess first we should talk a little bit more about what we say when we think about mindfulness, right? I always said it's the ability to be where your feet are. It's essentially awareness of the present moment. And it's the ability to be aware of being aware. And what I mean by that is that you can actually notice when your mind has wandered off into thoughts or distractions or emotions, and you can learn to better regulate your attention. And so mindfulness is maybe the attribute, the capacity to be aware of the present moment, and then meditation is the training for it, right? So if mindfulness is like strength or endurance, then meditation is the weightlifting or the running, right? I view it as kind of a practice to build your capacity for mindfulness. And so I'll explain a little bit more of what it is and how to do it, but the why is already, I kind of touched on it with that story at the beginning. It's not so much that so we can sit on the meditation cushion or do our guided meditation and just bliss out and be calm, right? That's nice. A lot of people find that when they practice meditation, they feel better in the moment. They're more relaxed, they're more calm, they're more focused. But it's really about what happens when you get up and go into your daily life. In fact, I sometimes say that life itself is the meditation, that you're trying to learn how to be there for the experience of your own life with a higher level of awareness, so that when stressors or bad situations or difficulties arise, just like they did for me in that day, you can react from a place of awareness rather than just kind of like autopilot. You're up in your head, you're not paying attention, you're pulled by thoughts or emotions. And so that's the first reason, but I want to at least share a study on this so you don't think it's just me talking. I can include some information down below, but one of the, I think, most interesting and important psychological studies in recent years is called "A Wandering Mind is an Unhappy Mind." I'll say the title again. A wandering mind is an unhappy mind. And what they did is they had people have like a little pager that would kind of page them or notify them throughout the day, and it would ask them like what they were doing, how they were feeling in terms of happiness, and they would kind of ask them about like if their mind was wandering off to something else or if they were like really focused on the task. And what they found, kind of all this data of thousands and thousands of samples, was really interesting. What they found was that regardless of what people were doing, so listen to this, because this is crazy. Regardless of what people were doing, they were happier when their mind was not wandering, when they were present in whatever it is they were doing. Now, the thing that I say is so weird about this is they would look at, is it an unpleasant task? Like you're doing chores or you're cleaning up your bathroom or whatever. And then they would also look at if you were daydreaming or mind wandering, or was your mind wandering towards like positive things or bad things, right? Because you could kind of imagine if maybe you're doing chores or something boring and your mind is wandering about like going on vacation, that maybe that would make you happier. But no, the authors say that it's kind of like rolling a dice or a slot machine or something where best case scenario, you're a little less happy, and worst case scenario, you're way less happy. Because they say that if your mind wanders to bad things, obviously it makes you way less happy. But even if you're kind of daydreaming about nice things while you do your activity, it still makes you less happy than if you were just fully engaged in whatever you're doing. And so this study really suggests that the extent to which we can learn how to limit or manage the wandering mind, and by the way, everyone's mind wanders. If you're a human being, you're going to think about other things, you're going to fantasize, you're going to remember stuff, it's fine. But the extent to which we can start to manage that, to be where our feet are, be more present, the happier we will become. Okay, and again, that's the scientific literature on that. So, how can we do this, or what do we even do now if we say, okay, Jackson, I'm with you. The why of this is incredibly important in terms of how we show up in our daily lives to be more resourceful, be more aware of our own experience of our lives. And, as that study suggested, ultimately it's going to help us to be happier, okay? Not only because it avoids situations where, maybe you get in an altercation in the middle of the road. By the way, that guy had a very large German Shepherd, so I don't think that would have went well for me, for either of us. But also just generally, you can be happier in your day-to-day experiences of life. So what are we doing? How do we do this? Well, the main thing I want you to understand about meditation, whether you're new or you've done a little bit of it, is I think the key insight is actually every time you fail, you actually succeeded. I'll say that again. Every time you fail, you actually succeeded. What this means is in any meditation, there's a million different ways you can do it. You can sit and pay attention to your breathing. You can sit and pay attention to your body. You can lay down and kind of scan your awareness around your body. You can do yoga. You can do stretching. You can go for a walk, right? But the common theme is you are trying to bring your attention or your awareness back to a certain object of focus in the present moment. So let's say you're breathing. What's going to happen is you're going to fail. You're going to fail again and again and again because you're going to realize here's what it'll be. You'll go and it'll be like, oh shit. For the last 2 minutes, I've been thinking about what I'm going to eat for lunch. Or for the last 5 minutes, I've been trying to remember all the emails I have to do. Whenever you fail, you actually succeeded because what just happened? You regulated your own awareness, your own attention. You realized that the mind had wandered off to something else. And as you realize that, you brought the mind or your attention back to the object of your focus. So you're sitting there and saying, okay, I'm going to focus on my breathing, pay attention to my breathing, pay attention to my breathing. Oh crap, I'm thinking about what I'm going to do tomorrow, bring my attention back. Every time you do that process of realizing the mind has gone somewhere else, you bring it back to the present moment, you just built that muscle, so to speak, of training your capacity for awareness. So really the process of meditation is this continual process, and I think that's why so many people find it frustrating. This continuous process of failing. Because every time you fail, your mind wanders and you realize you failed and you correct it, That's the actual meditation, right? It's not about sitting there and being like totally in the zone. That's like not going to happen to you. Maybe if you're like an enlightened Zen monk or something, sure. But for most human beings, asking the mind to stop producing thoughts is kind of like asking your mouth to stop producing saliva. Like that's just what the brain does. It's constantly spitting out thoughts and feelings. So the process, again, you can do it just sitting, like you imagine traditional meditation where you're kind of like sitting there, just calmly. You're laying down, you're doing a guided meditation, you're going on a like slow, mindful walk outside. You're even doing like yoga, or for some people, it may even be a craft like archery or like dancing, dude, like literally anything. As long as you have that same process of, okay, I have some sort of object in the present moment that I'm trying to bring my attention back to. And every time it wanders, I come back to it. Okay. And that's how you train that capacity, like we said, to be aware of the present moment, is every time your mind wanders off, you just bring it back. And I almost think of it like weightlifting, right? You might be at the gym for an hour, but it's every time you actually lift the weight that you're strengthening the muscle, right? So meditation, you might sit there for 15 minutes, but it's every time you realize the attention's gone somewhere off and you regulate it and you bring it back, that is the actual meditation. So that's essentially how to do it as well. So I'll get a little bit more practical, but that's the big idea. Okay. All it is training that capacity to come back again and again and again and again and again to the present moment. Okay. Maybe a shameless plug here, but I wrote a book, How to Stick to Meditation, the art of mindfulness meets the science of habit. If you look up Stick to Meditation, Jackson Curtis on Amazon, you'll find it, but I can include a link down below. So that, if you read that, it's really short. It's like 80 pages. It's very practical how to set up a plan so that you actually stick to your meditation. But I'll give you the highlights here, because you don't have to go buy the book or anything if you don't want to. Essentially, what I'd suggest is you start with about 20 minutes, okay? Maybe 5 days a week or every day, first thing in the morning. I say the morning because that helps set up the trajectory of your day in a positive direction. And it's much easier to get things done in the morning because you don't have time for your day to like jump in and throw you curveballs and stuff. Okay. So 20 minutes in the morning, pick an activity that is kind of maybe meaningful to you if you have a hobby or a craft or something like yoga or dancing or even like woodworking or something. But if not, just pick something simple that you can do physically. So maybe a seated meditation or something called a body scan, which you can Google, but you like lay on your back and you direct your attention around your body. Okay, so just pick whatever you think feels comfortable. And so if you have no idea, just say, okay, you're going to start with a seated meditation. Okay, what you're going to do is sit comfortably but alert and upright in either a chair, or you can sit on a cushion, cross leg, or they sell these little benches as well where you can sit on your knees, plural. So you do that. And then also down below, I can include some other resources of like guided meditations and whatnot. Feel free to use an app or something if you think it'll help you. But then all you're going to do is set a timer for 20 minutes and you are going to do nothing. Can you handle that assignment? It turns out it's actually pretty hard to do nothing. And when I say do nothing, I mean you're just going to sit there and observe. Sit there and sort of rest in your awareness. Just try to bring your awareness to the present moment. So you may focus on breathing. You don't have to control the breathing. You just notice the breathing. Or maybe you just notice the sounds going on. Maybe you notice your physical body. Okay, you're just observing, bringing your attention into the present moment and doing nothing. And then here's what happens. Every time you find yourself doing something, aka thinking or fantasizing or remembering or planning, okay, you just let that go and you come back to your awareness of the present moment. As one of my Zen teachers said, meditation or mindfulness is letting come and letting go, whatever comes and whatever goes. And you're going to do that for about 20 minutes. And there you go. That's your practice every day. Now, here's what I should tell you as a preview. Maybe do this for a week. You're not going to notice anything. Okay. You're not going to be like, oh, I'm all like enlightened and way happier. It's not how it works. Okay. And you're not going to be able to hook up some app to your brain and be like, oh, I got 10% more mindful. No. But what may happen is months from now, maybe even a year from now, but probably a few months from now, if you do this consistently, is you'll be in your daily life and you just might notice that you react to a situation differently. Or what can be really interesting is you'll be going through your daily life and you'll notice that your mind has wandered off and you'll bring it back. And that is the key. That is when it starts to become, remember what I said, your life is the meditation. It's learning to actually be there, fully engaged, experiencing the moment to moment daily life unfolding right in front of you. And so that's what you can start with. Like I said, it's a very simple protocol, 20 minutes, first thing in the morning. If you can't do 20, do 10. If you can do 30, do 30. And that's all it is. And what we'll find as we go back to the beginning of why we care about this, it's going to change how you show up in your daily life to have a greater level of awareness and resourcefulness. And it may just make you a little bit happier as you learn to limit or a little bit better manage the wandering mind. So again, there you have it. You check out this resource to help if you want. You can check out other resources, like I said, down below. Here's a video that YouTube suggests that you will like. As always on this channel, I really just invite you to study happiness with me. So this is research, but also like this video, more like practices and tools that you can take away for your daily life to improve your health and happiness. So this has been Jackson Kirchis. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.